Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Today we'll be introducing you to one of the world's greatest natural ecosystem on earth, which is the Great Barrier Reef. So it is the largest coral reef ecosystem, and because of its outstanding natural value, it was listed as a World Heritage Site in 1981. This incredible reef stretches over 348,000 square kilometers, covering a huge area across 14 degrees of latitude. You can find it just off coast of Queensland, Australia, and it is so big that it can be seen even from outer space. The Great Barrier Reef isn't just one big reef. It is made up of over 2,500 individual reefs and more than 900 islands. These islands vary from tiny sandy cays to large continental islands, with some rising more than 1,100 meters above sea levels. The reef also spans a wide depth range, from shallow coastal areas to deep ocean, going down more than 2,000 meters in some places. This variety gives the reef some of the most beautiful underwater and coastal scenery in the world. The Great Barrier Reef isn't just coral. It includes several types of ecosystems that work together to support marine life. First, we have the coral reef ecosystems, which form the main structure of the reef and are full of marine life. Then, there are seagrass meadows, which are especially important for animals like dugongs and sea turtles. We also have mangrove forests, which grow along the coast and act as nurseries for baby fishes and other marine creatures. The islands and coastal ecosystems also support a wide range of birds and unique plant life. And finally, we have the deep ocean ecosystems beyond the continental shelf, which are still being explored today.
For importance of ecosystem management and conservation in the Great Barrier Reef, first, let's look at biodiversity and conservation. The Great Barrier Reef supports thousands of marine species, including over 410 species of hard coral, around 162 species of fish, at least 300 types of molluscs, and around 500 species of marine algae. It's also home to threatened species like dugongs, sea turtle, and the giant clam. Next, climate change resilience. The reef is very sensitive to rising sea temperature, which causes coral bleaching, but through conservation efforts like reducing pollution, fixing damaged coral, and controlling human activities, we can help the reef recover and adapt to climate change. Now, let's talk about the economic significance. The reef brings in around $6 billion each year through tourism, commercial fishing, and recreational activities. Good management ensures that these economic benefits will last for a long time. Another important point is the cultural and indigenous value. The reef is sacred to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples. Conservation efforts help to respect their heritage, protect traditional knowledge, and support cultural continuity. Next, the reef provides many ecosystem services like protecting our coastline from erosion and storm, storing carbon through seagrass and mangrove, and also serving as a nursery for many marine species. Lastly, the reef has great scientific and educational value. It acts as a natural laboratory for studying marine life and climate change. It also supports global research and helps raise awareness through environmental education.
For my part of the presentation, I'll be focusing on the method used to manage the Great Barrier Reef ecosystem. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest coral reef system in the world, but it also plays a crucial role in the biodiversity, tourism, fisheries, and endangered culture. The main organization in charge of managing the reef is the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, GBRMPA. GBRMPA works closely with both states and federal government in Australia to create and enforce rules. Since the reef is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, its management is also monitored internationally, which adds more pressure and responsibility. In short, the reef is managed through a multi-level system involving science, law, and local communities, or even the global partnership. There are several key methods used by the government to manage and protect the reef. The one major tool is the zoning. This means dividing the reef into the different zones. For example, some areas allow fishing and others are for tourism. Some are no-go zones for complete protection. This helps to reduce the conflicts between the different users and protect sensitive habitats. Another important plan is the Reef 2050 Long-Term Sustainability Plan. This is a detailed roadmap that sets the goal to maintain the reef health over the decades. It includes action to improve the water quality, reduce climate impacts, and support biodiversity. Also, before any big development near the reef, like a port or industrial project, an environmental impact assessment is required. This helps to predict possible damage and find ways to avoid and reduce the harm. Finally, there are strict fishing rules. Some areas have fishing bans, and some have limits what can be caught to allow the fish populations to recover. Management of the reef isn't just the top-down or local communities and indigenous people are deeply also involved in the protecting the reef. The traditional owners such as the Aboriginal and the Torres Strait Islander people have lived near the reef for thousands of years. Their knowledge of the land and the sea is valuable. Many now work as endangered sea rangers, helping them monitor and care of the reef. One great example is community involvement in the Eye of the Reef program. This allows regular people like the tourists, divers and volunteers to report the sighting of things like coral bleaching, pest wildlife or unusual wildlife. Farmers also play a big role. The government supports them to reduce agricultural runoff, especially fertilizers and pesticides, from reaching the ocean, which can damage the coral reef later. So the reef management is a truly shared responsibility that includes science, government and indigenous wisdom and community action.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nurul Binti Mohammad, and today I would like to present about the challenges in ecosystem management of the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef is actually the most iconic and biodiverse marine ecosystem in the world. But despite its globally significant, the reef actually facing the complex threatening, and the management for the reef actually is really urgent. Another challenge lies in the complexity of restoration and adaptation effort. In a rapidly changing environment, it is no longer realistic to restore the reef to its historical condition. Instead, current efforts focus on helping the reef recover and adapt by maintaining key ecological functions. Programs such as the Reef Restoration and Adaptation Program or RRAP do not aim to restore the reef to its original state, but rather to help it cope with future conditions. However, this approach presents its own challenges, including public trust, political and regulatory barriers, and disagreement on the scale and intensity of intervention. In conclusion, the Great Barrier Reef shows us how fragile and complex ecosystem management can be. It is not enough to rely on scientific knowledge alone. Effective conservation also requires inclusive value, supportive rule, and community participation. The challenges faced by the reef highlight the need for adaptive, flexible, and future-ready management approach that combine technology, traditional knowledge, and policy reform. If we want to ensure the survival of the Great Barrier Reef and other ecosystem like it, we must strengthen our commitment to long-term, holistic and collaborative conservation strategy. That's all from us. Thank you.